know by my grin that something really good has happened, because I only grin when it is about my favorites. Am I ashamed of that? No. Kind of broke one of my rules with one of these releases. And to have that sort of composition playing with SolidS' voices on top, it's a problem. Welcome to Monthly Review. This is an episode covering March 2026 releases. Kind of an exciting month, but not because there was a ton of music being released, but because there was a wide variety of vibes within the releases that we got, and there were some interesting things in here. And I kind of broke one of my rules with one of these releases. I was not going to check digital singles, and I went to check one digital single, which by now was confirmed it is going to be in an album, so I sort of spoiled myself, but we are going to talk about that in this episode of Monthly Review. So, let's talk about the best releases in March 2026, and you can already know by my grin that something really good has happened, because I only grin when it is about my favorites. Am I ashamed of that? No. So let's kick off. The first release is, of course, SolidS and QUELL with Square, You Are Up. This is such a fun song because it has Takeshi Hama and John San, the two main composers for the Pro franchise, working together in a song. And if you know what I like in terms of compositions, you will know that I like these two composers a ton, but I'm a sucker for Hama Takeshi's compositions by default. And to have that sort of composition playing with SolidS' voices on top, it's a problem. Jonsa and Takeshi Hama collaborated in the composition of this song, which is a massive thing. And what we got is quite possibly one of the best songs that I have heard from the Pro franchise, because of this chorus, it's so good. There's a ton of voices here, and I can listen to every single one of them with a clarity that is mind-blowing. When it comes to the vocal mix, it's amazing. When it comes to the way that the chorus flows, the chorus is so QUELL that I love a ton, because SolidS is the land of power vocals, basically. When they go and those notes go up, not in the first chorus, but in the second chorus, it's unbelievably good. This is a song that demands power vocals. This is a song that demands a really strong emotional performance, and when it comes to emotionally strong performances, QUELL excels in that. When it comes to super passionate performances, that's SolidS. And when you go and see the common denominator between both groups is that they are really powerful when it comes to their emotions, and they really convey them super well. The one is almost like the calm before the storm, the other is the storm itself. They fit well together. And this song is so intense, but in such a good way. You feel like it is a warm hug that will make you smile, but also with an undertone of cheekiness in there. But it is really subtle and only noticeable when SolidS' members are performing. But to have in the same song not only the vocals from SolidS, but also having that synergy between higher toned vocals, to have the lower ones really creating a soft, warm, cozy background to the performance, it's unbelievable. I love this song a ton, and I enjoyed a ton Grove's and Soara's song Alive, but I feel when it comes to stealing the show, this was the one that stole the show for me. A couple of months since reviewing that, that's how I feel about both songs. Love both of them. They are the best representation of the 10th anniversary, and their synergies with the Alive side and the Square side. When it comes to the Square side, which is SolidS and QUELL, this song is the song that best illustrates how amazing they are, their strengths, how powerful vocally each group is, how much SolidS has improved, because QUELL have been powerhouses since the start, SolidS hasn't. SolidS has grown into a powerhouse, so to have both together and going on those high notes, especially having in the same place Shugo Nakamura, Shonogami, Soma Saito and Natsuki Hanai all going for the super high notes while everyone else is creating a really warm background is mind-blowing. Really. Super, super good. This is my geeky side, of course. When it comes to the high notes, Soma Saito and Natsuki Hanai stand out much more than Shonogami and Shugo Nakamura do, but that was to be expected. But a surprise in there is Kotaro Nishiyama, who stands out a ton in the high notes. And it's not because he's singing badly, no. It's actually because he has a tone that strays away from all those four higher tone singers, and he stands out. So while you are noticing, oh, that's Hanai and Natsuki, and for sure Soma Saito leading the way when it comes to the high notes, Kotaro Nishiyama stands out from all of, in between all those singers. And we are talking about Soma Saito, quite possibly, I'm not going to say the possibly, one of the best singers among male seiyuu, and Natsuki Hanai, quite possibly one of the best singers as well. Especially when it comes to the high notes. I'm not talking about overall capacity, because that's a different thing, but he excels in high notes and it is mind-blowing. And even with Soma Saito and Natsuki Hanai, who have been so attuned to each other when it comes to the high notes, especially with SolidS, to have Kotaro Nishiyama coming out of nowhere and woo, let's steal the show. It was kind of impressive, and I was really happy to see that not only we get to hear first here in this case SolidS coming to a level in which they can be considered powerhouses alongside QUELL, who have been powerhouses since the start, but also we get to see that evolution on the vocal end. Yuichiro Mehara was not the best singer in the Tsuki Pro franchise. He was actually one of the poorest singers in the franchise. I love him, so this is the preface, I love him. But let's be honest, he was not the best singer when he started. Kotaro Nishiyama was exactly the same thing for QUELL. Although I love him, he was not the best singer when he started. Tone deaf, really, when he started. Same thing for Yuichiro Mehara. Both of them improved so much that in this song they are standing out like crazy. When it comes to the low notes, Yuichiro Mehara is actually giving a show. When it comes to the high notes, it's Kotaro Nishiyama coming out of nowhere and stealing the show from Soma Saito and Natsuki Hanai, which is mind-blowing. But also within his own group, QUELL stealing the show from Shugo Nakamura and Shonogami, which is mind-blowing once again. It is amazing what we have in this song. It's unbelievably good. Square You Are Up is probably one of my favorite songs released recently, and for sure a song that illustrates really well what the Square side of the Tsuki Pro franchise is all about. It's power, it is emotion, raw emotion, it is passion and intensity all together, but with an underlying softness and warmth to them. Because QUELL has a warmth that is cozy, SolidS has a warmth that is, let's say, cheeky, sexy in a way, and together they have that sound that is really appealing and engaging, not cheesy at all, as you could tell if you listen to the song, and super well showcases the vocals on both ends. So I'm so happy that this song was released, and it is a good one. I was worried for a second there, because SolidS can catch you by surprise with some songs. They have really good ones. But for example, with Babel, the single that they released last year, I was not the biggest fan of the title track and actually enjoyed more the B-side. They wavered a little bit in terms of the quality, so I was worrying about that if they were going to be paired with QUELL, who have been super consistent so far and have arguably the best composer for 2D groups in Takeshi Hama. So this was a really interesting thing to have two really good composers working together. Two groups that are... SolidS is a foundational group in the Tsuki Pro franchise. QUELL is the group that joined the franchise last, but they work so well together. It is unbelievably good, and I'm so happy that we got to hear these and that the song was good. So I'm happy, as you can tell by my grin when I started, and from how I talked about this CD or this song in specific. Then we have, and let me just check my notes because that's a lot of things that I have here. So the other song is NAViGATOR by Rivale. Now, I love what Rivale have been doing the last couple of years, and especially how groovy and funky their sound has become. NAViGATOR is a good example of that, starting with a really old school 80s, almost late 70s style of sound, with a really long, not really long, but a relatively long drum solo, funky bass leading the way, and it is super stylish. Once again, Rivale have leaned a lot towards that mature sound, which makes sense, and especially if you look at the seiyuu, it makes even more sense to make that sound more mature and adult in terms of how they present themselves, not necessarily the topics that they are exploring. It is still funky, it is still danceable, but it is a stylish style of danceable. It is a 80s revival style of dance music in here, with a ton of funky stuff going on. The bass line, I will say, it is one of the most insane that they have in their repertoire. It really is the heart, the core of this performance. If you remove the bass line, the song is a bit lackluster, because that's what is driving the song forward. How much slap bass this song has? A ton. But it also has these quiet moments, and the quiet moments have a bit of a backbeat going on in there. Almost feels like it is reversed. It's a ton of fun. The synths slow down a little bit and give enough of a breather for the vocals to shine. And when it comes to the vocals, Shinosuke Tachibana and Soichiro Hoshi have been on top of their game in the past couple of years, especially in the last year. So when this song released and when I was listening to NAViGATOR, I was really happy that it sounds like them. It's an improvement over the way they perform their vocals, and also it's super funky and fun to listen to when it comes to the instrumental itself. The bass line, once again, is a treat. If you are just like me, a big fan of really funky, crunchy bass lines, this is going to be the thing for you. Honestly, just explore the song and enjoy it. Not only it is super fun, but it also has a sort of a dance break in the middle that you are going to enjoy a ton. It slows down a little bit, but the bass line is relentless. So here's my invitation for you to check NAViGATOR by Rivale. And the last song that I bring here from March 2026 is Shouta Aoi's Kotoba. This is the preface that I had done. I spoiled myself without even knowing that this song was going to be in the upcoming album, Limitless. Because it's been a while and Shouta Aoi has been releasing digital singles for 2 years mixed with the EP Collage, or the mini album Collage. So I was not expecting a full-length album to drop so soon, or at least it's not necessarily so soon because it has been a while, 3 years. But I was not expecting to drop this year, so that's why I went there and I was thinking I'm going just to check the digital single because I'm craving his voice and I miss it a lot. So I'm going to listen to it, and I'm not going to remember the digital single when it comes for it to being in an album. To my surprise, an album was announced soon after, so I spoiled myself for that album by listening to Kotoba. But let's talk about Kotoba because this is a really sweet, sort of groovy pop rock style of song with a ballad undertone. It is not a full-on ballad, but it is a subdued, calmer style of pop rock style of music. The verses really give a lot of breather for Shouta Aoi to shine and to perform his song steadily, in a really gentle, almost warm, cozy way. So you will feel like you are almost wrapped up in his arms, if you want to think like that. A warm hug, that's the feeling that you get with this song. The piano is super jaunty and sweet. There's a sweetness dripping from that piano, and I love how it is being played from start to finish. When it comes to the guitar work and the drums, they shine the most when it comes to the chorus. The chorus is more rock-driven than the verses are. That's why I'm saying this is the pop rock style here. And it works super well with Shouta Aoi's voice. When it comes to his voice, he's doing really interesting stuff, although he's not going overly technical. It doesn't need to be all the time super technical. His voice is already super beautiful and technical to begin with. But when you go to the chorus, he sort of raises his tone, and it's a beauty to listen to that time and time again happening. No matter how many songs he releases and performs, whenever he does that crescendo with his vocals to the high notes, it's always a beautiful scene to experience, and this song shines because of that. Once again, this is not a groundbreaking sort of song. This is not a song like Dalala that will make you comment and theorize a ton and actually create almost an essay about it. This is not a fun, danceable song. It's a really sweet one. And if you like sweet songs by Shouta Aoi, this is going to be one that you will enjoy a ton. Kotoba is that type of song, for me at least, and I feel that for many of you it is going to be that type of song. It's super sweet, super beautiful, and it ends with such a dulcet tone on the piano that is beautiful. One thing that I'm going to add here, because I'm a sucker for that, is the guitar solo. We have a guitar solo, and it is, albeit a brief one, it is a really enjoyable one, not cliche in any sense. And it is really, it fits the song, it fits the tension that you need to unleash in that specific part. It's really, really interesting. So that's another invitation for you to check Kotoba by Shouta Aoi. Or if you want to do like I should have done, you will wait for Limitless, which will be released in July. So that's the new album by Shouta Aoi, full-length album, which I'm super excited about. So this is a sort of a prelude to that. I spoiled myself, I shouldn't. But I was craving this music for a long time, so yeah, I had to listen to it. But yeah, that's my third and last suggestion of the best songs of March 2026. This episode is sponsored by all the Hand That Feeds HQ's patrons on Patreon. A big thank you for the support. I like that we are keeping these episodes short lately. When it comes to monthly choice, the corner in which I suggest you the songs that I have been listening to time and time again, or I have been reminiscing about, I have two things that I have to bring you here. First off, Soma Saito's Mayohiga. Why Mayohiga? Why am I bringing Soma Saito again? It's been a while since I've listened to Soma Saito's music. While I enjoyed Nuance and I enjoyed Fictions, those were albums that didn't grip me like previous ones did. So while I obsessed over My Beautiful Valentine and Yin Yang and even In Bloom, I know those albums by heart and all the songs in there. I don't know Fictions and Nuance by heart. That's my confession here. Those are albums that I have not reviewed or re-listened to many times, because there are songs that I love, but many songs that I don't enjoy as well, and the vibes are completely different from what I crave as a listener. Not to say the albums are bad, we already have talked plenty about those, but those are albums that I don't mention too much because they didn't impact me as much as I was expecting. And they are intentionally albums that were not meant to impact you a lot, as per Soma Saito's words, so it makes sense by the end of it all. But yeah, Mayohiga is a song that I've talked plenty about, and I know some of you believe it is the best song in Nuance, honestly. Between that and Rain Shoes, I feel it's almost a tie. Mayohiga has its place in my heart because I love heavy rock stuff. I was craving for Soma Saito to actually explore a heavier brand of rock, although that's not really heavy metal that he has in there. There are some influences and some shades and things that he wanted to bring from heavy metal to his music and made the song a heavier brand of rock. That's not heavy metal. To be heavy metal, it requires specific things. To be a heavier brand of rock, you just need to be playing rock and have a sort of a rougher delivery on the guitar or something a bit heavier on the vocal for it to be heavy. So in this case, it is a heavier rock song for Soma Saito, not heavy metal. And it is a bundle of fun. I was not expecting such a raw, gritty sound coming from him. Because when I talk about Somasato's music, I usually think about overly polished, well thought out songs. And while this is still a well thought out song, it doesn't feel as prepared and as polished as previous songs. This comes from the fact that, of course, Nuance is an album or an EP that is all about the garage rock band sound. So it is meant not to sound super polished, because that's not what garage bands do. They don't have a super polished sound. They have a raw, emotional sound that is the true definition of what an artist is before they go to a studio. So I can understand that, and that's why Mayohiga hits super hard. It's because the song feels like it is super raw, like something that they could start jamming right beside you, right now. It's not something that now we need to think about what is the chord progression for the chorus, and then if it matches the interlude, and we are not thinking about that. We are not thinking about being overly technical, and also not about polishing the song to sound perfect. And Mayohiga is not perfect in the sense of it's not overly polished, and I like that that rawness that you usually don't associate with Somasato's music you have with Mayohiga. And also the fact that it is a heavier brand of rock. I like the guitars in there. I like that the song is rough and really gritty at all times. I like that the drums are super intense, and I like that Somasato made an effort to bring that style of music to his repertoire. I feel he's incredibly versatile as a singer, and also versatile as a lyricist and as a composer, and he shows that in Mayohiga. That's the greatest example of how versatile he is, because even within rock there are subgenres and subgenres that will click more or less with you, and genres that you will never be fully proficient with. But Somasato really is strong in rock music and super versatile within the subgenres in rock music. And even when he dives into something else, he usually excels in that as well. But that's a different conversation. We have had this conversation plenty of times about how he's a vocal chameleon. But Mayohiga is actually that for me, and especially months later since the release has dropped, basically, now waiting for another EP announcement, because we had an EP last year. This is a year, if Somasato follows the schedule that he has been set for himself, it will be a year for another EP, and only in 2027 will we get another full-length album. So we are in the time in which we are waiting for something to happen. And while I'm waiting for something to happen, I'm really craving new music by Somasato, and I went on to check Mayohiga again, and it's such a good song, honestly. I do have another choice, and this one is going to be so left field that you are going to be left thinking, what? I didn't hear, or I haven't heard about this song in years, and this one is going to get you a bit excited. So let me just bring the song here, because I like it, and I want to have it playing in my ears. It is Osiris with Desire. Yes, yes, and yes, this song is unbelievably good. This is the epitome of what I like about Visual Kei rock. That's what I crave when I listen to Visual Kei rock. That early 2000s sort of Shido-inspired sound. So this is something that I really enjoy a ton. Desire was the song that grabbed my attention when I was playing Bandiarose. Osiris instantly became my band. I was obsessed with them. I still love them. I'm not as obsessed as I was with them back then, but I love them. And I absolutely fell in love with Masanori Kobayashi's voice. He has an unbelievable vocal range. He has a poise as a Visual Kei rock frontman that is insane. He embodied the whole vibe of Kyo, the vocalist for Osiris, and he rolled with it so well that people wanted him more on stage and then wanted to hear Kyo in the game, which is unbelievable. But this is a song that is memorable still to this date. It doesn't sound like a dated song. This was released a couple of years ago. I believe it was from when? 2018 probably? Oh my god, Desire is from 2016. But yeah, this is a song that I love a ton. it's been 10 years, it doesn't sound old. At the moment, this could be a Visual Kei rock song that could have been released today. One thing that I want to talk about is the insane guitar solo that we get here. This is the true meaning of shredding a guitar. This guitar solo always gives me goosebumps. I'm having those as I talk because I'm listening to the song. I like the crescendo, the battle that you get, of that release of tension as the notes go lower and higher on the fretboard. It is one of the best songs that I've ever heard by a 2D rock band. Honestly, when it comes to 2D rock bands, this is the band, the definition of what a 2D rock band is for me. If any 2D rock band can match these, and there are a couple, you have the Dig Rock franchise, who have matched the quality but never the style, and you have Medicode, who are the precursors to Osiris with their amazing Visual Kei rock sound. If any 2D music band or 2D rock band can match these, I'm instantly a fan. But Desire is unbelievably good. Anything by Osiris from the Bandiarose franchise is good. So if you want to check and you like Visual Kei rock, this is the band for you. If you like really awesome long guitar solos, sometimes twice within the same song, this is the band that you need to check. And also they have a really fun instrumental sound. One thing that I like here is that the drummer for the live performances and also for much of the studio recordings for Osiris was the drummer that Somo Saito hired to play Palette. And if you know Palette, the song hits super hard and the drums are the highlights, so you will enjoy that a ton. So please check Osiris because their music is unbelievable. From vocals to guitars, bass and drums, they have a sound that is memorable from start to finish. I have never heard a band since then to match that vibe. Even if Phantom Iris was slightly in that vein, they were never like Osiris. And that's one thing that I love, is that how unique Osiris sound and continue to sound. Even as more 2D music projects continue to emerge and Visual Kei continues to be explored in some way, there's never a full-on group or band that can capture that sound that Osiris had. I hate to say had, past tense, because I still want to believe that the project is around. They are in a sort of a weird limbo in which they are not finished, but they are not really active. They have been collaborating here and there. They have collaborated with Phantom Iris or the Argonavis franchise, but beyond that we don't have much going on. But once again, please go check Osiris and especially Desire. Start with Desire, but there's plenty of awesome music there you can check. So get my recommendation here and go check their music out. It is available on streaming platforms, so there's no excuse for you to not check Osiris' music on streaming platforms. So go check them out because you are not going to regret that, especially if you like good rock music. I miss them a lot and I would love to have new music coming from them. But as it is, as we reminisce about their music, it's been 10 years, it's insane. At least that's the thing that I want to bring here is Osiris with Desire. So that's an amazing song that you need to check for sure. And now it's time to get your suggestions of songs that everyone should check, because you also have your opinions. And continuing from the last episode, ML is back, and ML has, of course, one comment. So welcome back, ML, a regular here on Monthly Review. And ML says, "Hello, I'm back to talk about the other Yumeiro cast song that I couldn't fit into last month's survey, Stardust Dream by the Yumeiro Company. It starts with a dreamy fairytale-like intro, and then, as the 7 members start singing in order, the instrumental changes in a way that it feels like the story progresses. I wish I could explain this more in detail, but there is, for example, a calm part with string instruments, a part with a jazzy piano, and some drums and cymbal sections where some action is definitely happening in the story." I like that you bring that here because it is quite cinematic. What you are setting the scene for me. And I like these because when it comes to the music in the Yumeiro cast franchise, you always had that sense of this is a play unveiling in front of me, so you feel that the story is happening, not only from the titles of the songs, but also from how the songs were created and developed. So this is a really interesting thing, and you are setting the scene for me and for everyone watching this episode. Let's continue. Then we have the chorus, then the intermission of the story, then the other chorus. There's no second verse. Oh, we have a unique composition here. And finally an outro, which feels like the curtain call, where all members take turns once again. This structure, combined with the way the vocals echo, makes it feel like you're there watching a stage play. I think it's especially well done because the song didn't need any acting segments to give us that feeling, it's all singing. In a way, you can say that singing and acting is almost the same art. They are performing. One in a lyrical way, the other may not be in a lyrical way, depending if it is a stage play or a musical. But I get what you mean. So it is good to see that you feel from the structure of the song that you are being presented with the story and that you are following that story, even with a weird style of composition. No second verse is a really interesting choice. I wonder if it has a second chorus. So that's a really interesting choice there, to forego a verse instead of a chorus. It's usually the opposite, in which you forego the chorus and you basically just do a super long verse or a couple of verses in quick succession. So I'm curious about this song a ton, coming from the start, coming from this fact that we have a unique composition. Unfortunately, the middle part of the song was a bit disappointing because of the lack of progression in the instrumental of the chorus and the lyrics in the intermission, which are just alternating whoa whoa parts with the song title. Oh no. Oh no. They're resorting to that laziness. Oh no. Continuing. Nevertheless, it's an interesting and unique listen. I'll definitely be rewatching this stage play every now and then. I really dislike how lazy it sounds when you just throw in there some whoa whoa parts with the title of the song. Sometimes not even with the part of the song. You just throw some whoa whoa parts because it sounds cool because everyone is in unison. It's super cheesy by the end of it all. The whoa whoa parts work well on a live setting, but since the franchise doesn't intend to bring the songs to a live setting because the franchise has supposedly ended, what are those parts there for? Because even if you are watching a stage play, you will not be singing along. If you are watching a musical, you will be shut up. So I don't feel like the whoa whoa parts make much sense in there. But once again, I would have to listen to the song, but seeing that you didn't even like the whoa whoa parts, and most people usually like the whoa whoa parts because they like to sing along. I'm the type of person that feels that it is super lazy and only works in very specific cases. I'm not really looking that forward to that part, to be quite honest, but the rest, the scene that is set and how the song flows, it keeps me interested, and also the way that the composition goes without a verse but with the chorus instead, and the second part of the song being super different from the way traditional pop rock music or traditional rock music will develop is kind of curious for me. I'm usually the type of person that chases weird time signatures, weird style of compositions, weird lyrics, and everything else. So I like my things weird and unique. When it comes to the music, I also enjoy the normal stuff. Let's use quotation marks here. But I really find it really interesting when composers and even lyricists and artists in general try to break the mold a little bit and try to do something that, while not being overly innovative, it's rare to find. And I like to see when compositions, for example, they forego a second verse, they forego a chorus completely, and then the song evolves into something else. Or when within the same song you have 2 or 3 different music styles and they work together in sections, almost like as if they are Act 1, Act 2 and Act 3. I like to see that. That's something that brings a lot of interesting ideas and interesting concepts to explore, although it will not be the thing that will click the most with people because we are expecting cohesion from start to finish. We are expecting, we are creatures of habit, so we are expecting predictability in a song. That's why not many people like jazz, because it is completely unpredictable. And also, when the songs mix music genres, it keeps the unpredictability super high. That's why people usually don't like fusion music genres, such as acid jazz or nu metal or something like that. Those are things that are super niche. I'm saying nu metal, and you are going to say, but nu metal is not niche. It was when it started, and many people didn't like it. I lived the full nu metal era, so I know what I'm talking about. Some of you may have been born in the 2000s, so you may have not have experienced the nu metal era, which is odd, but yet again, same thing with acid jazz. Whenever I talk about acid jazz, many people don't like it because it is a mix of music genres. Some people are purists, they only enjoy jazz music. Others don't like to have the mix of EDM in there, even if they enjoy to have a mix of music genres. So here we have a unique composition, back to the topic that we were talking about. We have a sort of a unique composition from what I gather in this song by Yumero Company, called Stardust Dream, but we have the lazy whoa-whoa parts in there. So I really feel that this is a stage play that they are presenting, because you have the start of the story building up the tension, then you have the end of the first chorus leading to a part that feels different, and you said there is no second verse, so I will assume you didn't mistake verse for chorus. But if there is no second verse, the second part may feel a bit odd, because you will be expecting the repetition of the same structure from the first verse and chorus, and you will not be finding that there. You will be kept on your toes about what is going on, what is going to happen, and that's how you feel when you watch a play. You don't know how the story is going to progress beyond just knowing what is on the synopsis of the story. Unless it is a really old story and you already know what it is about, but usually you don't know what to expect in the second act, and you will assume that the first part of the song will be the first act. The second part of this song will be like a second act in theater, in which you have the story developing, and it may not even be the same that was at the start of the song or at the start of the story. So it will shift to something else. That's why maybe they went with the idea of foregoing completely the second verse, or even foregoing the second chorus. But since you were talking about the laziness of the whoa-whoa part, it feels like something that will probably fit within the second act by the end of it, which is to say, by where the bridge in the song should have been. Once again, I have not listened to the song, so I am assuming a lot of stuff here. But then again, from what you told, this is a song that probably has a strong musical theater type of vibe, although it doesn't have the cheesy lines going on, which I'm so thankful for, because one thing that I really don't like within songs is when 2D groups feel the need to bring lines into the performances. One thing that I really found a bit difficult to digest, for example, with the Versus Ambivalence franchises, when they have that final CD before they announce the new groups, they usually do that type of musical theater performance, and I don't like to have my music interrupted by lines. I know that people will say, but Vanessa, that's exactly what musical theater is all about, and I will tell you, I don't like musical theater, so that's the basis. I really don't like it. I cannot even enjoy musical theater. I've made a couple of exceptions in the past in which I've experimented with some musical theater and I watched some plays. I cannot even get into that. So when I listen to music that has that musical theater vibe in which we have music interrupted by lines and then music again and then lines, I forget what the music was about because of the lines. The lines take too long, the song has started, it hasn't continued, then we have a lot of lines, then we have a bit of music, and then I'm like, what is this music about? I don't recall. So it's not something about the attention spans, because usually for those songs you have at least 1 or 2 minutes of lines and you already forgot what was happening before. With musical theater it will be different. They will be performing a full-on song and then they have the story, then perform another song and they have the story, or the songs are interwoven into the narrative, but still I don't enjoy musical theater that much. I prefer theater to musical theater. But yeah, all this to say, I'm kind of curious about this song, but the wah wah part left me a bit on the fence. But then again, I like a really weird composition, so I'm back in the behind the fence again, and I'm really all in to check this song out. But once again, like I said in the previous episode, I haven't gotten my hands on that CD, and I don't even know how to get it. So yeah, that's the struggle at the moment. So yeah, thank you so much, ML, for participating in this episode. And as you can see, this is a really short one again. Once again, if you have any questions, if you have any comments about the music that is being released, don't feel shy about it. I'm taking a bit longer to create these episodes, but I'm still recording these episodes, so do not worry. And yeah, I hope this was enjoyable to you. We brought a lot of interesting music here. We reminisced about old stuff as well. We got even a tangent about musical theater and music composed around a vibe, or the vibe of musical theater. So I hope you enjoyed this episode a ton. Thank you so much to ML for participating, and for you for watching this episode. Thank you so much for being patient, because I'm taking my sweet time recording these episodes, but I'm still recording these episodes. Reviews will be on the site in due time. Don't stop checking the website at least once a month, because I will be sharing the reviews there. I'm creating or writing those in batches, so whenever I stop to review one CD, I usually review 5 or 6 CDs. I'm not reviewing one at a time, because that's not feasible, but I'm reviewing batches. So I have a batch of CD or at least reviews that I have to bring to the website, so look forward to those. And once again, if you want to be on top of what I'm doing, get behind the scenes information and footage, don't forget to subscribe to Patreon. This channel is mainly powered by Patreon, so thank you very much to everyone who has been supporting the THTFHQ on Patreon and has in some way contributed to having these episodes and the channel and the podcast up, as well as the website. So thank you very much. You can join. You will find links in the description. You have a free tier, and you also have paid tiers. Paid tiers have access to reviews and everything else, and things behind the scenes that many people will not get. And you get to choose a CD for me to review on camera, or a song to review on camera, depending on the tier that you choose, which is also a really good perk if you ask me. So to do and stop that and do something like I do for the review advent calendar just for you, that's a bonus that you get by subscribing to the THTFHQ on Patreon. So that's a thing that I will leave that for you. Once again, thank you for watching this episode. I hope this was an enjoyable one, and I'll see you guys in the next one.